Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Two teams ready to go at each other, Tampa Bay and the Giants, for more before kickoff. Let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Joe, the Giants look back at that game and they see those flaws that are completely correctable. Tom Coughlin looks at it and said, we were awful. Jason Pierre-Paul told me, he admitted there were just a lot of selfish play along that defensive line, which of course is the team's strength. He told me between himself, OCU Manura, Justin Tuck, they went after sacks willy-nilly, just ignored their assignments. But today the emphasis is on team.
Pam, not only did they not get any sacks against Tony Romo, they didn't hit him. And their big three of OCU Manura, Jason Pierre-Paul, and Justin Tuck whiffed last week. I don't think they're going to whiff this week. They're ready to come after Josh Freeman.
Well, there's a lot of things that Tom Coughlin wants to see done differently in this game, and that's certainly at the top of the list, Joe, because you're right. But you come in and play the New York Giants, and you've got to account for those three pass rushers, and last week they were a non-factor.
Let's talk Tampa Bay. You came out of last week's game. I know you spent some time down in Tampa Bay during camp in preparation for these next 2 weeks. We've got him at Dallas next week, and you're really impressed with his first-year head coach.
Well, I am. I think he's very set in how he wants things done. He went old school at training camp this year. You don't see that from many coaches around the league. He was very demanding and worked these guys exceptionally hard, and I think with that, it was important then to have success early, and that was a big win last week against Carolina.
Off we go. Glad you're with us. It'll be the rookie, David Wilson, from inside the end zone. Nice return out near the 30, knocked down just shy of it. They're going to mark him with that little skid forward after a 33-yard return at the 30-yard line, where Eric Lorig made the stop, and now Eli Manning, who wasn't too upset with how the offense played last week. He said we just didn't get the ball enough, and there were his numbers from week one.
Yeah, I thought Eli played well in that game last week. He just didn't have a whole lot of opportunity to get the ball down the field. Of course, he had some drops, but the biggest problem offensively last week is they were unable to run the football against the 7-man defensive front with the Dallas Cowboys.
Quick setup and throw, and right out of the gate, it's Hakeem Nicks, good for 8. Look at impact players for the Giants and realize that Hakeem Nicks is kind of on that Plaxico Burress practice list this year. He's only practicing on Thursdays, still coming off that broken right foot.
Yeah, you know, I had a chance to visit with him down on the field before the game. He says he feels pretty good, but, you know, he's not 100%, and usually those type of injuries, they never really do quite heal.
He's at the top of the screen. Manning was looking that way and now throws that way. The pass is caught. That's Nicks, wrestled down inside the 25 by Talib. 40 yards on the second play from scrimmage.
Well, that's just Eli Manning giving his man Hakeem Nicks an opportunity to make a play. Aqib Talib, he's in coverage. The Giants come into this game expecting Tampa Bay to commit defensively to stopping the run. On that particular play, however, Tampa Bay was playing coverage, but they were still isolated on the outside, and Eli is able to lay one up, and Hakeem goes after it.
At 4 catches week 1, he's already 2 for 2. First run of the day, it's Bradshaw. And Ahmad Bradshaw takes it inside the 20 to the 19. We look at the defense for Tampa Bay, and there's a familiar face. Rondé Barber, who last week made his 200th start at cornerback, but he's joined by Gerald McCoy, who's finished the last 2 years on IR, and then 2 rookies. They've got 2 rookie starters on defense, and they love their rookie running back, Doug Martin, on offense.
Well, you call them what you want, but all 3 of those guys did not look like rookies last week.
I'm going to call them rookies.
Okay.
On second down, Manning wide open, and that's the rookie David Wilson. who was known in college as somebody who had trouble with ball security at Virginia Tech. Last week in his second carry against Dallas, put it on the ground. That was it, and this one right through his hands.
Well, he's got a package of plays on early downs. First and second downs, you're going to see him in the game, but they're going to be specific things they're asking him to do. You'd expect a young player to come in and maybe touch the ball by carrying it. That time they spread him into the formation, he just has a drop.
Eli saw 3 of those last week from Victor Cruz. Manning, end zone, fight for the ball, and for Hakeem Nicks, it's broken up by Talib, and this time Talib equal to the task, knocked it away, and it'll be 4th down.
Well, you're going to see the safety here. He's going to work to the middle, and once that happens, Eli Manning knows then he's one-on-one on the outside. You got a corner up and bump and Aqib Talib. He's going to try to go back to Hakeem Nicks, who he's already beaten. And that's just an outstanding play by the cornerback, Aqib Talib.
37-yard drive by Tynes. And he is able to draw it in. First points off the first possession, they belong to the Giants. Now we'll see the Tampa Bay offense down 3-0.
This Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
It's like our little NFL on Fox Flat Stanley. Where's it going to show up? Shows up by the Flatiron Building in Manhattan, and we are across the river in Jersey. And glad you're with us on Fox as the Giants went down the field, got the first points of the day, and now Aurelius Ben waits for the kickoff. Michael Smith, who returned kicks last week, not active today. So Ben gets a crack at it. He will bring it out. And he lost the football. Knocked out by Adrian Tracy, and we'll see who comes away with it. Tampa Bay. So Ben getting a chance to return a kick. Tracy knocked it out. And Tampa Bay able to get back on top of it.
Right there, 98, Adrian Tracy. He comes in and just put his helmet right on the ball. Knocked it out. Big break there for Tampa Bay to be able to recover that and not give the Giants the short field.
Helmet right on football, then into the air and the scramble.
There's not a lot Aurelius Ben could do about that one. I mean, they'll be on it pretty good, I would imagine, on the sidelines. But a big guy like Tracy coming in, putting the helmet on the ball, it's difficult to hang on to it.
Tampa Bay kind of huddled up on the sideline, and they come out as a group and go right to the line of scrimmage, and they hand it to their rookie. We'll see a lot of Doug Martin today. He picks up 4. Take a look at the key new additions on offense for Tampa Bay. Not only do they have the rookie running back, but they've added Vincent Jackson. They have Dallas Clark, and they bring in Carl Nicks, maybe the best offensive lineman, certainly one of them in the NFL, and they take him away from a division rival, the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, good on both fronts if you're for Tampa Bay, but I think some of the moves that they made in the offseason, some of these veteran players, Nicks, as you mentioned, being some really key guys and good players.
Kiwanuka coming on a blitz, and this one complete to Williams. He's got a first down as he goes around Corey Webster, who had a rough week against the Dallas Cowboys on that opening Wednesday night, and that last completion good for 11. And we look at the big 3 names up front that typically get pressure and hits. They went 0 against Tony Romo.
Well, I think the most disappointing thing was, yes, they did not get enough pressure, but more importantly, they were undisciplined in their rush lanes. And so 2 of the touchdowns that Romo had last week were from him getting outside the pocket with there being no containment. They played very undisciplined along the defensive front in that loss.
On first down, play action from Freeman. He's going to air it out, looking for Jackson, and the big receiver hauls it in. Vincent Jackson knocked down at the 31 by Corey Webster. Good for 41.
Well, they go after the big play guy and Vincent Jackson, but the safety has got to be able to get over the top. There's nobody threatening down the field, down the middle, and so because there's nobody there and there's only one guy streaking up the sidelines, Antrell Roll has got to be able to make that play and give some help. Now, Corey Webster, he's responsible one-on-one on Vincent Jackson and likely will be throughout this game.
Vincent Jackson has averaged over 17 yards a catch throughout his career. That is the best average among active receivers. Wilson started to run before he made the catch. That is not a lateral. So it's just an incomplete pass. Doug Martin could not haul it in.
Well, that's a good start right here for Tampa Bay offensively, because last week, think about what Greg Schiano wants to do within this offense and within his defense. He wants to play great defense. They want to run the ball offensively. And when you play that style and don't get the ball down the field with big plays, scores are going to be tight throughout the game. They come in here today. They really didn't have any big plays last week in that win over Carolina. But here on their first possession, they get the big play up the sideline to Vincent Jackson.
On 2nd and 10. Martin over the right side, climbs across a body, picks up 3. Jason Pierre-Paul, the first one to hit him. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, I thought Doug Martin, you mentioned him being a rookie in his first NFL start last week, and you see 24 carries and then he had 4 receptions as well. That's a pretty good workload for a guy in his first NFL start, but he's not real tall. He's listed at 5'9". Josh Freeman says 5'7" if he's lucky, but he is pretty well built. He's a big muscled up guy, and so he can take a pounding, but he had to earn every yard he got last week.
3rd and 7. Freeman trying to set up a screen. He hits DJ Ware, who's going to be crunched short of 1st down yardage. Got 1, that's it. And like the Tampa Bay defense on the other end of the field, the Giants defense stiffens up the closer Tampa Bay got to their end zone. A field goal try from Connor Barth is coming up.
Yeah, good job defensively there by the Giants, stopping this drive and then forcing them to attempt a field goal. But I think Tampa Bay's, the fact that they were able to recover the fumble, first of all, off the kickoff return, but then to be able to move the ball and try to answer back on that 3 points that the Giants had is big.
45-yard try. And absolutely splits the uprights. 45-yard good from Connor Barth with traded field goals. Tied at 3 in Jersey.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
We'll get into the kind of offseason that Mark Dominic, the young general manager the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had. One of the best across the NFL with the new head coach, with the draft that they had, trading back into the 1st round to get the running back they wanted, Doug Martin, before the Giants drafted, and they were left with David Wilson. And then bringing in the big money players, the free agents. Here's a line drive kick to Martellus Bennett. And Marty B, as he's known, is out of bounds at the 30. A big catch on each side. First it was Hakeem Nicks for the Giants. Vincent Jackson for the Bucs, but each team had to settle for 3.
This game is sponsored by Lexus, introducing a stunning work of technology, the entirely new Lexus ES by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
One of the better tailgating scenes you'll see anywhere in the NFL is here at the Meadowlands. What's happened so far: 6 offensive plays for Tampa Bay, 5 for Eli Manning and the Giants. 3-3 game. 2nd possession starting at the 31. Starting with a run. Bradshaw over the right side got nada. Knocked down by Gerald McCoy. Well, there's first-year head coach Greg Schiano, and we got a hold of his Ramapo High School yearbook. It's about 20 miles northwest of the Meadowlands, Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. So he's a Jersey guy, became the head coach of Rutgers football team in New Brunswick, New Jersey in 2001. He was there through last season, and Now he's in the NFL. Really turned that program around and coached some big names that have come into the National Football League. Maybe the biggest, Ray Rice. As Manning fires, he's got Victor Cruz. No drop this time. He's got a first down. Good for 16. As he found a hole in the secondary of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think Victor Cruz was one of the guys who was probably not real happy that there was going to be so much time off between their last game last Wednesday against Dallas and then this game here today, because he did have a tough outing there week 1, but he's able to redeem himself with watching him out there before the game running some routes and really purposely watching the ball all the way into his hands. I think that was the biggest thing that hurt him last week, was just taking his eyes off it as it was coming in.
Little jab step left by the rookie Wilson, then he took off to his right, picks up 5 to leave on the stop. And here's Kurt Menefee with a game break.
Well, a big divisional matchup as both the Saints and Panthers try to avoid 0-2 starts. New Orleans off to the quick start in this game. Jimmy Graham, 1-yard touchdown reception from Drew Brees. 7-0 New Orleans scores on their first possession. Joe Troy and fans.
How about some more detail about Drew Brees? 45th straight game with a touchdown pass. Go to foxsports.com and learn more about that game, certainly. Second down and 5. Manning, sideline, a lot of hand checking, no flag. Nicks the intended receiver, and he's working on Talib again.
Well, there's a little contact there on the outside because of Aqib Talib coming up and pressing Hakeem Nicks. You see the contact up to 5 yards. I think it was a good non-call there. Well, you mentioned Greg Schiano, and he talked about when he was in the NFL as an assistant coach on Dave Wanstead's staff there in Chicago, and he loved it, during that time, because it was like a football lab. He said you didn't have academics, you didn't have recruiting, it was just all football all day with both the players and the coaches, and I think he was excited to get back to that atmosphere here in Tampa.
Manning, pocket collapsing, there's Cruz. Great move. Still going. And he's got something to prove today as he's wrestled down at the 29. A completion and run of 20.
Well, you got Cruz in the slot. A good move right there on Eric Wright. You're going to see a hit on Eli Manning right in the middle of the pocket as he's trying to step up. You got Michael Bennett. 2 guys on the inside were able to get pressure on Eli Manning, but an outstanding route by Victor Cruz, setting up Eric Wright to the outside, making him think he's going to try to go around him, and then sticking it, getting to the inside.
Showing great strength and balance on that run after the catch. Here's Bradshaw. Middle of the field wide open, and Ahmad Bradshaw's got another Giants first down inside the 20 to the 17. A 12-yard run.
You're going to see a double team with Boss here and in the middle, and then going up to the linebacker level, Booth and Boss, and they do a good job then of creating a running lane for Ahmad Bradshaw, and then he knifes his way through. That's one of the few openings that Ahmad Bradshaw has seen here in the first 5 quarters of the 2012 season, but a good job up front.
Tampa Bay was last defending the run last year. They allowed only 10 rushing yards against Carolina last week. And here is David Wilson, and Wilson gets 1.
The guy who is still getting some pressure, though, is Gerald McCoy for Tampa Bay, and he's an excellent player, and he's got tremendous talent. The problem has just been keeping him healthy. But Joe, when we visited Tampa Bay back this summer at training camp, every coach we talked to said the key to our defense is going to be Gerald McCoy and keeping him healthy. If he's healthy, he's going to be dominant. He's been in the backfield here in this game, had a great game last week, but they're using some of his aggressiveness against him here on this drive.
Second down and 9. Pass to Hickson. And a flag comes in on the hit, I believe, as Hickson had his helmet taken off. A 12-yard completion and a late flag.
Looked like it might be called on Mason Foster. As Hickson was going to the ground, Foster's going to come in to try to finish him off. And there's the helmet to helmet.
Jim Core is our referee today. And that hit.
Personal foul, 59, defense. Unnecessary roughness.
That's a hard call on Mason Foster because, I mean, it's the right call. It's the right call because he was defenseless and it was helmet to helmet. So the officials do a good job of making the call, but for him, he's just trying to finish the play. And, you know, how you know exactly where the helmet's going to be, I don't think he was intentionally trying to go helmet to helmet.
So first down and goal. Manning rolling to his right, has a man wide open, and that's Will Beatty, the backup tight end. Meanwhile, Ahmad Bradshaw was wide open, but he threw to the backup tackle, the former starter Beatty.
Well, that's one of those things where you go over in practice and you outthink yourself because Beatty's going to be running the crossing route. And I bet in practice that was the guy who they said is definitely going to be open. They're not expecting him to go out in the pass route, but to the front side, Ahmad Bradshaw, who should be the first guy in the progression according to that play, but Eli just bypassed him and didn't get it out in front of Beatty.
Now Bradshaw goes nowhere on second and goal. Look how open Ahmad Bradshaw was when Manning threw to Beatty.
Yeah, he comes out of the backfield and well, there was a tackle there. Looked like the guy who was going to be in coverage on Ahmad Bradshaw was Dakota Watson, and the Giants got away with tackling him.
Now David Deal is down. Starting right tackle. They'll look at him. We'll take a break. David Deal able to get up and walk off the field. He got his legs caught in a pileup at the line of scrimmage. Looking at his right knee, right ankle. Jim Cordell comes in. It's third and goal. And movement on the left side. Will Beatty, who missed on the touchdown catch, guilty.
False start, 65. 5 yards, still third down.
Well, I thought the Giants more than likely on that particular play were going to use play action to try to punch this ball into the end zone, but now with the 5-yard penalty, there's no doubt they're going to have to throw the ball. You know, you talk about Dave Deal, and I mean, God, how valuable is he? You know, his ability to play all the positions. The only position he's not started at along that offensive line is at center. That's a huge blow for such a versatile guy and really a working pro.
Big number 13, Ramses Barden, is in the slot. 6'6", 224. See if Eli looks that way. He fires, and it's off the hands of Martellus Bennett. Another drop hurts the Giants. This time it's Martellus Bennett. And instead of a touchdown, it's another field goal try. That's 3 Giant drops already.
Well, it's a good route, really, by Martellus Bennett. He runs a stick route, and then he's going to go to the goalpost, but he comes back out of it because that's a route they run very often. So he got separation. He's just unable to make the catch. You know, last week was targeted 7 times. Probably can't remember the last time he had that many balls in his direction.
24-yard try, and it is drilled by Tynes, but that will feel to the Giants like a missed opportunity a couple of times over. 6-3 New York. 6-3 game, under 3 to play in the first quarter. Week 2 around the NFL. And Tynes will kick it away. Aurelius Ben, who had it knocked out of his arms on his first try, is back there again. And from about 1.5 yards, deep in the end zone, Ben tries it again, and he is knocked down by Herzlich. A 20-yard return, and let's go back to that injury. Number 66, David Deal.
It gets rolled up right there. Initially, it looked to me like it might have been the ankle, but it also looked like they were checking out his knee. So there's something obviously with his leg, but he just went into the locker room to get all that x-ray. He's walking in, which is, you know, oftentimes a good sign. Sometimes with knee injuries, my experience in having teammates with those types of things, that I've seen guys with complete reconstructions and they've walked off the field like that. So you never can tell, but he's a valuable part of that offensive line. And obviously they're hopeful it's not too serious.
So now Freeman back to work. Josh, who took a step backward last season, hits Lorig. And the former defensive end and tight end, now fullback, is good for 8.
Yeah, and Eric Lorig is going to get a lot of playing time in this game, probably between these two teams. They probably use the fullback more than any other teams in the National Football League. Even last week with Tampa Bay, a lot of fullback formations and a lot of 2 tight end packages and things you used to see back in the mid-'80s to early '90s. But Tampa Bay, they're old school in how they approach it offensively.
2nd down and 2, and it's Preston Parker on an end around. He's got a 1st down. So a little misdirection, a gain of 7. Let's go to Kurt for a game break.
Well, the Ravens have bounced back to even the score against the Eagles. Vontae Least, the fullback, with a 5-yard score, tying it at 7. Lots of pushing and shoving on both sides of the football from both these teams. It's no real surprise going forward.
One of those 2 teams will come out of that game 2-0. Baltimore took care of Cincinnati. Philadelphia just had enough to beat Cleveland week 1. First down, play action. Freeman, plenty of time, and fires a strike to Vincent Jackson, good for 17.
Chase Blackburn right here, number 93. You're going to see the play action and what it does to him. It forces him to come up. Then he's got to try to relocate the wide receiver and get underneath that throw. But because of the play action and holding him just long enough, he's the guy who has to be able to get underneath that throw, or he's the only guy, I should say, who can defense it. So an excellent job offensively there within the scheme, and then the play action doing what it's intended to do.
That last one good for 17. Vincent's got a 41-yarder. Now they go again. Out of his reach and incomplete. Well behind the defender, Corey Webster. And Freeman just led him too much.
I'm sure Josh Freeman's probably a little bit surprised that he was actually able to overthrow Vincent Jackson here, because he had a step on him. And Vincent Jackson has excellent speed and a ball that, you know, he's just unable to haul in. He gave it all his effort, and I know they're sure excited about him in Tampa Bay, and they talk about the leader that he has been, both on the field as well as in the locker room. One of the hardest working guys in the entire league.
They're all coming from the Giants, and down goes Freeman. Chase Blackburn, the middle linebacker, a sack, a loss of 6.
Blackburn's right here in the middle, right guard, Ted Larson. He's got to feel that and know that he's the most dangerous and make sure he takes that blitzer. But because he does not, he doesn't recognize it soon enough, Blackburn's able to shoot the gap, and Freeman has no chance.
3rd sack of the year for the Giants, first for Blackburn. 3rd down and 16. Just got the play away, and DJ Ware, the former Giant, in midfield. That's it. Tuck on the tackle. It's 4th down. So that sack changed that drive dramatically. A run of 6 yards by DJ Ware. First quarter will come to a close, and when we open the second quarter, it'll be a punt from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 6-3 Giants back after this. Fox NFL Sunday continues after this from your local Fox station. Defense will take a rest as the Tampa Bay Bucs will punt it. Ruben Randall, the rookie, is waiting for it from Michael Kanan. Nose of the football down. So is Kanan. No flag, and the fair catch by Randall at the 11. Let's talk about baseball next week. Fox Saturday Baseball and games with plenty of playoff implications. We've got the Dodgers taking on the Central leading Reds in the National League. The Braves taking on the Phillies, who are coming out of nowhere. Only 3 games back at the start of the day in the wild card race. The Twins take on the Tigers. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, and Tuck almost got the ball, then banged into the body of Kanan, who did some acting, and Jim Core, who was back there, the referee didn't buy it. No flag.
Keenan will be getting in the hot tub tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Bannock coming with pressure, and this one's picked off by Mason Foster. The middle linebacker got back there, and Foster comes away with the third interception for this Tampa Bay defense.
Excellent job by Mason Foster. He's just reading the eyes of Eli Manning, and you're going to see as he drops into his coverage, once he recognizes pass, he's looking back. He doesn't really know where the receiver is behind him, but he just plays his area, and he's able to get underneath that throw. Obviously, Eli Manning, he sees him, but he's anticipating that he'll be able to drop the ball over the top, but he got more depth than Eli expected.
2 interceptions by this defense against Carolina last week. They get one here early against Eli Manning. This was a Tampa Bay team that was -16 in the turnover ratio last year, last in the NFL. Freeman throws it, and this one is incomplete with Webster defending Mike Williams. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, the Giants medical staff immediately knew something was wrong when they examined David Deal's right knee. After manipulating it for a while, they decided Deal's day was over, and we just got word wideout Dominic Hickson is in the locker room. He's getting looked at for a head injury. Back to you.
Yeah, on that hit that he got from Mason Foster down near the end zone, it drew a flag. It was a short penalty as it turned out, and now they're looking at Hickson. 2nd and 10. Handoff is to Martin, and Doug Martin lost a yard.
Well, one of the things that Mike Sullivan, the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay, what they want to do is make third downs manageable. So on first down, they have an incomplete pass. They come back on second down and run the ball, trying to keep it from being 3rd and long, but they don't gain anything there, so it is 3rd and long. But the Giants defensively are anticipating that, and on second down, they've been dropping in a safety, anticipating run, and they've been right a good amount of the time here in this first half.
Jaron Hosley, a rookie cornerback, in the lineup. This one for Jackson. He makes the catch and has a touchdown. Got around Michael Coe, and Vincent Jackson is good for a 29-yard touchdown completion after the Manning interception.
Well, the problem is they showed it right away to Josh Freeman what they were going to have. He knew he was going to have pressure, but he knew he had one-on-one with his best receiver against a young corner who started his first NFL game last week and got torched. And so now you've got Vincent Jackson. Not bad coverage throughout, but right here you see the extension. I thought that they were actually going to call Jackson for pass interference. He got the extension, which created the separation.
38th career touchdown catch for Vincent Jackson. A 29-yard completion on 3rd and 11, and it's a 10-6 Tampa Bay lead.
Yeah.
There's the completion, the catch. They love him in Tampa Bay, and why not? Big play receiver. Vincent Jackson in for the touchdown after the pick by Eli.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. From kickoff to the last yard, Chevy runs deep. By Burger King and our delicious new line of salad wraps. And by Taken 2, starring Liam Neeson. The man with a particular set of skills is back.
Giants defense on that touchdown on 3rd and 11 has the attention of Troy Aikman, and we'll hear about that after the kickoff. Back to the Giants from Canaan. David Wilson waiting for it. Let's go back to the interception first, and we'll get to the touchdown.
Yeah, obviously this was how it was all set up. You're going to see number 59, Mason Foster, who just does a really nice job in his coverage lane and makes the interception. But going back to the touchdown here, 3rd and 11, and Perry Fuel did not do Michael Coe any favors by locking him up man-to-man, no help, against the best receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that being Vincent Jackson, and a guy who can't be playing with a great deal of confidence because of the way the Cowboys went after him. 3rd and 11, I thought they could have protected him a little bit more, but I just think that was a poor defensive call and put a player in a real poor position to have success.
And a great throw backpedaling from Freeman. Big hit. They are flying up front with this Tampa Bay defense. First guy there was Bennett as he ran in to Ahmad Bradshaw. No gain.
Pretty good up along that defensive front, and Michael Bennett is a really good player. He's solid in all areas. He does a nice job of rushing the passer and good in the run game as well. Of course, he's the brother of tight end Martellus Bennett. But that defensive front with him and Gerald McCoy and then Adrian Claiborne, that's a pretty formidable group up front.
Andre Brown is in at tailback. Bennett with pressure, and the pass is caught by Cruz. Good throw by Eli Manning, and that's good for 12 and a first down.
Good coverage by Eric Wright, but just an excellent throw. And at the top of the route, Victor Cruz, once he gets up to the top of the route, as he works back down the line of scrimmage, he comes back through the football. And so because of the throw, it makes him come back down the line. But Victor Cruz goes and attacks the ball, and that's the difference between a completion and a defensive back getting his hand on it.
Third catch for Victor Cruz. He had 6 in week 1. Quick throw, and this one is knocked away from Nix. Talib is there again, and those two have been matched up all day long.
This Tampa Bay defense has been, really impressive in the early going of this season. When you think about how bad they were last year, and I know we had a game of theirs last season, I thought it was one of the worst defensive efforts that I had seen. Poor tackling, poor effort. And then you put on the film from last week against Carolina, a good running team, and they just dominated that Carolina Panther offense. And the linebackers were the area that Greg Schiano really wanted to see some improvement. Having been an all-conference linebacker at Bucknell University himself, you can bet that he watches that position with a pretty sharp eye, and they played well.
Handoff is to Hynoski. Big fullback out to the 35. Third down coming up.
And the Tampa Bay fans out there that think about those great years that they had, when Monty Kiffin was the defensive coordinator and John Lynch playing safety, and of course Derek Brooks and then Warren Sapp. This defense kind of has the makings of that, a little different style, but when they bring in Mark Barron and Levante David, the two rookies, and then of course Gerald McCoy, I mean, they've got great players. These guys are young, but they got solid players at each level that could mature to be great players.
Third down and 7. Pass is caught by Nix. He's a yard shy of a first down. Leaping grab. Aqib Talib was good enough for the tackle to stop him short.
Aqib Talib, he's been getting quite a bit of work here in this first half of this game. There with Akeem Nix, and good catch by Akeem, just comes up short. And I'm sure as much as Tom Coughlin would love to go for it, he just can't on this side of the field.
Weatherford into punt. Strotter back, waiting for Tampa Bay. Line drive. Strotter from inside the 15. Makes one move, and Sammy Strotter is out across the 25. They'll mark him at the 26. Spencer Pazinger with a tackle after a 13-yard return. Tampa Bay with a football and a 4-point lead. Ed Svita, our master statistician here in the booth, notes that last week Tampa Bay ran it on first down 21 of 28 times. Troy, they've thrown it 6 times out of 7 on first down. From the 25, they run it this time, and they run it with Doug Martin. He spins forward for 2. Jason Pierre-Paul made the stop.
Well, Jason Pierre-Paul's been a little more active in this game. We talked about it at the start that those 3 guys, the big pass rushers, really weren't much of a factor in that game against Dallas. But Jason Pierre-Paul has been back there getting after Freeman a little bit more, and then does a nice job on the last play as well.
LeGarrette Blount in the game. Former 1,000-yard back. Freeman nowhere to go except down in the arms of Jason Pierre-Paul. That's his first.
Just nowhere really to go with the football for Josh Freeman, because I'd mentioned earlier on second downs they'd been running it. This time they try to throw it, but the Giants are one step ahead of them. They were playing coverage. And so as Freeman drops back and he's trying to decide, okay, well, where am I going to go with the football? He couldn't find an open receiver, and Jason Pierre-Paul, as I said, he's been creating a little bit of havoc back there in the backfield.
He had 16.5 sacks last year. He gets his first, and now it's 3rd and 16.
I'd expect something real conservative here by Mike Sullivan, backed up 3rd and long.
Setting up a screen for Lorig, and there to make the stop is Michael Boley.
Yeah, they were anticipating that. If you think back to the last 3rd and long that they had, not the 3rd and 11 shot up the sideline, but on a one that was 3rd and longer than that, they ran a draw. This time backed up. What they don't want to have happen is a big mistake and a turnover, and so they try the screen. The Giants anticipated something like that. Boley with a nice play.
Dallas Clark on that reception, not Lorig, and a beautiful punt by Kanan. This is Ruben Randall, the rookie, across the 40. So good field position. The sack kind of flipped the field from Jason Pierre-Paul. Eli back to work, down by 4.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. From kickoff to the last yard, Chevy runs deep.
I know you had fun yesterday, Troy, visiting Mount Sinai Hospital.
We did, yeah. We went to the zone that Garth Brooks and my foundation, we build those around the country, and I got a chance to go by and visit the kids. And I know Marco, who I met yesterday, is watching today, so I'll give a little shout out to him. Big football fan.
Is he a Giants fan?
He is today.
Okay. Thought he was going to give you. Why do you hate the Giants? Play action from Manning, and there's Cruz. He is dialed in today. Victor Cruz, good for 11. Now, one player who's not out there is Ahmad Bradshaw, the starting tailback for the Giants, because of this hit right here last time they had it. That's just hard to watch. And let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Yeah, Ahmad Bradshaw has joined offensive lineman David Deal and wide receiver Dominic Hickson in the locker room. Bradshaw has gone in to get an x-ray on his neck, Joe.
Yeah, it didn't look good. That's the one way that, talk about heads-up tackling, and that's the frightening move of a neck inward as opposed to side. Here's Hynoski with a spinning catch. The ball comes out as he hits the ground. And now Hynoski's hurt. They're going to say the catch is good. Eric Wright made the hit, and Hynoski can't get up.
That's a tough play for a fullback because of the coverage. The corner has safety help, so he's able to come back and play those flat routes like that. And Hynoski's got his back turned. He's trying to make a catch on the ball, and as soon as he turns around, he's upended.
Checking the low back of Henry Hynoski. It's been a painful first half for the Giants. Have lost Deal for the day. They're looking at Bradshaw and Hickson. Hynoski able to get up and run off the field, so that was a good sign. And now second down for the Giants. Delayed handoff to Andre Brown. And Andre Brown lost a yard. Levante David, the rookie, was there to meet him, and you can hear all that stuff, Troy, going on at the line of scrimmage. A lot of that because of the familiarity Tampa Bay has with their signals.
Well, you see what's happening right here. It's a little cat and mouse game going on with Eli Manning and these safeties, and they don't know which one's going to drop down and go single high. Eli's expecting them to do that. Then they go to the cover two, the two deep safeties, and so Eli checks to the running play. Now, all of that doesn't mean anything if you don't block the interior defensive line, which the Giants failed to do, and so they get nothing out of the play, even though Eli put them in the best play possible.
3rd down and 6. Nice pocket for Manning, and he overthrows Victor Cruz. Picked off and back the other way. Back is Brandon McDonald with an interception, and McDonald comes away with a second Tampa Bay pick of the afternoon. There's a flag at the end of it on that pull of the jersey from behind, and that one got away from Eli Manning.
Well, take a look here at Rondé Barber and see if he got away with a hold. He sure did, because Eli Manning is anticipating the out route by Victor Cruz, and you have to throw that ball on time if you're going to have a chance. And so Manning throws it as he should. Cruz is trying to come out of that route, but he's unable to, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got away with one there. The official doesn't see it. Victor Cruz knows it should have been called, and an interception the other way.
During the return, personal foul, horse collar, 35. The return, or the offense, penalty half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That's Andre Brown is in there because of the injury to Ahmad Bradshaw. And it happened right there. Meanwhile, Brandon McDonald, who gets his first pick, stayed on his feet for a couple of extra yards. It was a 41-yard return, plus 13 on the penalty, so 54 yards back the other way, and already leading by 4. Tampa Bay takes over with a first down inside the Giants 15.
Well, this is the game that Greg Schiano wants to play. You know, he wants to play good defense. He wants to win the turnover battle. Right now, they don't have a turnover. Giants have 2.
Handoff is to Martin. And Martin goes right up the middle for 5.
You know, we've seen Tampa Bay in this game. You know, I don't want to say conservative because they take their shots, but they're going to play the percentages. They're really going to rely heavily on their defense. And the way that you come into New York against a good Giants team is you just don't give them anything. You make them earn everything that they do get. And Tampa's been able to do that, take advantage of some of their opportunities, and then just play good defense. But most importantly, they've been able to get the takeaways, which have put them in another position to score.
On second down and 5, the handoff is to Martin. Again, spins to the corner for the touchdown. The rookie's got his first, and that was him finding room to run. Got to the edge, and that's the first of many, you have to believe, for Doug Martin.
Giants do the initial job of bottling everything inside. There's nowhere for Martin to run. But then once he spins out, there's no contain. You know, last week we said Tony Romo hurt them throwing the football, getting outside contained. This time Doug Martin hurts them because once he started the run in the middle, everyone collapsed on that. No one was on the outside.
Tampa Bay, as we mentioned, traded up to get Doug Martin from Boise State. Thought he was the most NFL-ready back available. They have been thrilled. He's the starter, one of 3 rookie starters they have. And after the interception by Eli Manning into the arms of Brandon McDonald, an 8-yard touchdown from Doug Martin, 17-6 Bucks. Greg Schiano, the first-year head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though he's from New Jersey, he's back in New Jersey, a couple of stops along the New Jersey Turnpike. He said, I'm going back for a business trip. This is not something where I'm going to go back and see family and friends. I'm going there to work, and he has his team prepared for this road test against the New York Giants, the Super Bowl champion Giants, and they're up by 11.
There's no confusing what he's here for. I mean, he's all business, I think, all the time. And, you know, while he was there at Rutgers, he coordinated the defense some of the time during that 11-year period. And prior to this kickoff here in the break, he was over on the sideline talking to Mark Barron and Eric Wright, Lavonte David, and he was giving them some instructions on what he believes they can expect to see on this next possession by the Giants.
Which will start at the 20. It has been a painful and at times frustrating first half for the Giants. Plenty of miscues. That was for Will Beatty. That was Will Beatty moving early near the end zone, backed him up. Martellus Bennett missed what could have been a touchdown catch. 2 picks by Eli Manning, who came into this game with no interceptions over his last 144 passes, the longest streak without an interception of his career. And the Buccaneers have turned both Manning interceptions into touchdowns.
518,
Handoff is to Andre Brown. And the backup tailback is out across the 40 to the 43. David on the tackle after a 23-yard run.
Well, considering this is an offensive line that's having to make some adjustments, you're going to see the blocks on the interior side of the ball. And then Andre Brown, he's just able to get into the hole and get going north and south. He's on the safeties before you know it. It's a nice job offensively. And Pat Flaherty, their offensive line coach, he's working overtime in this game, trying to sort it all out with the different bodies having to go to different positions.
Again, and a nice carry by a third-year player. As a penalty flag hits the ground, Andre Brown, third-year player out of NC State, picked up last year as a free agent. Ahmad Bradshaw is out of the locker room and just watching. Here's the call on the flag.
Holding, 64, offense. 10 yards, first down.
They get David Boss.
Right in the middle of the screen there, 64. Easy call. He gets called. Roy Miller is the guy who he's holding, and really didn't have to. I mean, if he just got his body there, considering where Brown was going with the ball, could have just shielded him.
Meanwhile, for Tampa Bay, their second-round pick Levante David out of Nebraska came off the field with his arm hanging. They're looking at him on the sideline. On first down, Manning throws, penalty flag flies. And Victor Cruz was looking for the flag, and he got it.
Well, let me just tell you something. If you're a wide receiver and at the end of the play your jersey's hanging off your shoulder pad, then there's a pretty good chance that holding should be called. So Eric Wright, they got him, and then Adrian Claiborne got Eli at the end of that play.
5 yards previous spot, automatic first down.
Big part of that is obviously the automatic first down after the hold by Boss. So the Giants get to start fresh with the ball at their own 38. First and 10, down by 11, just over 5 to go in the half. Each side with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Quick snap. Andre Brown with a nice run on first down, gets 5.
I like what I've seen from Andre Brown. He's making the most so far, at least, of the carries that he's gotten. He's hitting them right in the middle within the interior part of that offensive line, and he's got some nice yardage.
Second down and 5. Manning finds Bennett. And Martellus Bennett, who missed on a touchdown catch earlier, has got a first down inside Tampa Bay territory, a gain of 11.
Well, I got to talk to tight ends coach Mike Pope before the game, and he said about Martellus Bennett the same thing that they were saying in Dallas about Martellus, and that is he's an enormous talent, got a lot of ability, and it's just about him kind of putting it all together and concentrating and committing to himself. And it looks here in the early going that the Giants are going to give him every opportunity to be successful.
On first down underneath, it's Victor Cruz. Cruz made a move, lost a yard, gained 3. Quincy Black was there to make the stop. Second and 7.
This would be a nice drive for New York if they're able to capitalize on this and really come away with any kind of points.
Levante David, who is the defensive play caller, is still on the sideline for Tampa Bay. Putting a wrap on his right wrist and hand. Second and 7. Here come the Bucs. Pass is caught. Big tackle on Victor Cruz as Mark Barron.
Well, you heard Eli Manning yell 59's the mic. That sets the protection, and he anticipated that he was going to get the blitz off the slot once he saw the safety rotation, and he got it. The ball comes out quick, and that's how you beat the blitz. Now, it forces the Giants into third down because the ball did have to come out quickly, and this is a down so far in this game that the Giants just have not been real good on.
Might have 2 plays to get 2 yards here, even though it is 3rd down. They fake it to Brown. Manning finds his man. It's Victor Cruz. And Cruz is wrestled down with a 1st down for the Giants at the 35.
See Victor Cruz, he's getting a lot of work in this game today as well. And I think all the criticism that he received after that game last week against the Cowboys really frustrated him, and he's done a nice job here in this 1st half.
Here's Brown. Andre cuts through the middle of the field. And a nice 1st down carry that will take us inside 2 minutes. Clock is stopped. Bradshaw's watching, and all of a sudden everybody knows the name Andre Brown. 2-minute warning. Couple of things. First of all, Levante David is back out there for Tampa Bay, the signal caller defensively for the Bucs, with his right hand and wrist wrapped. Penalty flag could be a free play, and it's a big play. Touchdown Knicks. It's against Tampa Bay. The touchdown will stand as Hakeem Nicks, who had 7 last year, gets his 1st of 2012.
That's such a good route by Hakeem Nicks, and you see him kind of stick Aqib Talib, and this time he started to look like he was going to go to the outside, and then he sticks it back to the inside, and good anticipation there by Eli Manning, recognizing the release that he took and then putting the ball right on him. And you're right, I mean, a free look because of the neutral zone infraction. Just a good drive by the New York Giants.
And just like that, it's a 4-point game, 17-13, with 1:54 left in the half.
There's a little game going on with Rondé Barber and Eli Manning, and you're going to see as the ball is snapped, all he has to try to do then is make sure nobody works that way to Hakeem Nicks, and when he comes back to him, Hakeem Nicks beat Talib off the ball so badly, it was a pretty easy completion for the touchdown.
Eli Manning, who has thrown 2 interceptions, now has that touchdown pass, and he found his big target, Hakeem Nicks. I think one thing that's obvious so far here today is 1-0 Tampa Bay. They're a different ball club than they were a year ago, and they're giving the Giants so far all they can handle. Yeah,
and I mean, you can tell they're well coached, and they're pretty disciplined, and they're not going to give up anything easy, and so you've got to earn it all. And if you're not turning the ball over, and then you're the Giants, and you are, then it's going to make for a tough afternoon. But it was a good job by the Giants. They really needed the touchdown there. I mean, they've gotten down there a couple of times now, and last week they failed to score. This week they got down there and they failed to come away with the touchdown as well. That was a nice way to finish a pretty good drive there before the end of the half.
Andre Brown was a big part of it, a guy who before today had just 2 career rushing attempts with Denver in 2010. Here's Aurelius Benton. He is out to the 22. So what's coming up? We all want to know. Let's go to Curtin.
All right, coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, we'll put the guys back to work as we get ready for highlights from a busy Week 2 in the NFL, including Michael Vick and the Eagles hosting Baltimore in a game that's featured a lot of scuffles. Plus, Ryan Tannehill gets his first NFL touchdown. You'll be surprised how it happens.
Hey, did you see that box that Glazer was standing on there earlier in the pregame, huh? Bradshaw did a nice job of pointing that out, didn't he?
Yeah, well, imagine that. I saw the look of disdain Howie had for Kurt interrupting his game watching. I'm sure he's watching his son Chris.
I wonder if Jimmy's having any nachos today. He had a big plate of nachos yesterday, I guess.
Starting at their own 22. Handoff is to Martin. Jason Pierre-Paul wraps him up, a gain of 1.
Well, we'll see what the Giants are able to do defensively, and probably more importantly, how Tampa Bay is going to handle this backed up, because I think Greg Schiano's got to feel pretty good about where they're at right now in the first half, 17-13. I think right now he's just focused on not giving the ball back to the Giants.
See what happens on second down. Incomplete. Preston Parker, the closest one to it, and there was miscommunication between Parker and Josh Freeman. Fox tomorrow presents a gripping new series critics call a mix of ER and 24. See why this isn't your regular medical drama. Dr. Grace Devlin is devoted to medicine but indebted to the mob. Don't miss the new series, The Mob Doctor, premiering tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Fox.
I'll tell you, Joe, we're showing that the Giants still have 3 timeouts, and this is a big third down right here for Tampa Bay. I mean, if they do not convert this third down, they're going to give the ball to the Giants with a lot of time, considering they have all their timeouts now.
Freeman steps up and just gets rid of it. And the Giants defense does exactly what it needed to do, and it's Jason Pierre-Paul yet again.
Yeah, surprises me a little bit what Tampa Bay did on this possession offensively, and you know, they just continue to play. Tuck, they run a loop up front. Tuck contains them on the outside, and then Jason Pierre-Paul's there to finish it up. But they don't even have to burn a timeout on that possession. They're going to get the ball back with all 3 timeouts, a lifetime for Eli Manning to operate to come away with even more points here before the half.
It's Ruben Randall waiting deep. Keenan is a good one. From inside the 25, Randall. Big run back. Kanan's in his way. A penalty flag flies. Actually 2 are down on the field. 53-yard punt. Randall took it back the other way. 47 yards, but there are 2 flags down. And both groups are moving back down toward the Giants' end zone, indicating this one is coming back. Here's the call.
2 fouls on the return team. Holding. 98. That penalty decline. Legal block in the back. Number 57. Return team penalty penalized 10 yards from a spot of foul. First down.
That's Jaquan Williams. And it erases a punt return by the rookie Ruben Randall of almost 50 yards.
Well, no, that was not Jaquan Williams who I circled. It was Jaquan Williams who came in at the end there, that the officials right there watching it, and that's who got the call.
There's the block right there in the back. And instead of starting at the Tampa Bay 31, the Giants start at their own 25, down by 4. That's Nix. He's had a good first half, bad foot and all. He practiced only 1 day this week. Talib is on him again, and a timeout taken by the Giants, their first. 17-yard completion right out of the gate.
Well, Akeem Nicks has just done an excellent job of his releases off the line of scrimmage. Aqib Talib has throughout this first half come up and challenged Nicks, and Nicks has just done a good job of mixing it up. And that's the whole key. I mean, he's a big physical guy, and if you can get a good release, then you create the separation, and you have the type of half that he's had here in this game.
You've got the injuries on the Giants side. Both Deal and Bradshaw are finished for the day. And no sign of Dominic Hickson since he went in. Getting word that he's out for the rest of the day. Been a lot of mistakes by the Giants, and yet they could take a halftime lead. Here's Victor Cruz. And Cruz almost gave up first down yardage. He had enough. And a timeout taken again by the Giants with 36 seconds left in the half. They'll have 1 timeout left, and the ball in Tampa Bay territory just shy of the 47.
You know, they switch release this on the outside, as you're going to see Victor Cruz, because they're in man coverage, the problems that then creates for defensive backs, because you don't want to get picked, and so you give some ground and it opens the underneath throw to Victor Cruz. I'm a little surprised. You know, coaches so many times are quick to call timeouts because they don't want the half to end with timeouts in their pocket. But boy, they had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense on the ropes, and could have gotten a few more plays without being so quick to use those timeouts because the clock was running. Still plenty of time.
39 seconds left.
You guys got to come here.
Beatty out at left tackle, moved again.
False start. 65. 5 yards. First down.
That's his second of the day.
Yeah, Michael Bennett, the defensive end for Tampa Bay, he was moving as well, but they got Beatty there on that left side. He was reacting really to Adrian Claiborne, as you saw. But Adrian Claiborne did not get into the neutral zone, and so Beatty was the one who was called with the penalty.
They've got Sean Locklear now at right tackle, taking over for David Deal, and Beatty in at left tackle. Beatty's been bothered by a bad back. Manning hangs in there and finds Victor Cruz. And Cruz is down to the 39-yard line. And Tom Coughlin comes out onto the field to use the Giants' final timeout.
And so that's what you have here now, is they had 3 timeouts and they burned them on 3 consecutive plays, and now they've got to be real careful. You know, still time if they complete something in bounds to where they can clock it and stop the clock, but well, they just put a lot more pressure on them offensively than what I think they really needed to, considering how many timeouts they had to start this possession. But I want to go back to what Tampa Bay did when they had the ball, and to come out and stop the clock trying to throw it. They were backed up, and a team that had shown, you know, being pretty close to the vest on how they were calling the game. That was one mistake I think they've made here in this first half, is not taking more time off the clock when they had it.
2nd and 2. In case you're wondering, it would be a 57-yard field goal from here. That's Barton off his hands. Now it's 3rd down and 2. 23 seconds left, and Eli blames himself for that throw.
No, it was an excellent route by Barton, and he got in that hole that's created when you've got the 2 deep safeties, and it was just you can see as it came out of Eli's hand that just a ball that got away from him.
Mentioned last time, Barton 6'6", 224, but that one too high now. 3rd and 2. That one's picked. Intercepted by Eric Wright, and the free agent pickup. Eric Wright still going. Wright's got a blocker in front of him. Eli Manning to beat, and he's in for the touchdown. A 3-interception first half for Eli Manning, and this one a pick 6. 60-yard return by Eric Wright. And it's Tampa Bay adding to their lead before the half.
Joe, Eric Wright was coming on a slot blitz. He recognizes he's not going to be able to get there. He stops, and he gets right in the lane there where Eli was throwing the ball, and it looked like Wright was going to just go to the ground right about there and realize that, hey, I've got the ball, rather than risk it being fumbled, run out the clock, get out of this half. But he kept the play alive, and all of a sudden he gets out to the right sideline and nobody there to make a play on him.
Adrian Claiborne was out in front of him. Manning was the closest one to him when he went in. And it's back to an 11-point game with 8 seconds left in the first half. You know, it was interesting, Troy, to watch these two. And it happened a little bit before they snapped the ball. Obviously, as Eli Manning looked at Victor Cruz, they had a little hand signal prior to that 3rd and 2 throw. We've talked about the familiarity with Mike Sullivan, the offensive coordinator now for Tampa Bay, and the work that he's done with the Tampa Bay defense, talking about the Giants offense. And then you dissected it perfectly, coming on a blitz, stopping and getting up and getting the pick is Eric Wright.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's happened throughout this week because the coaches are so familiar with each other. But that play there, Joe, was really just a guy in Eric Wright, doing what good players should do. And, he's on the blitz. It's a quick drop. Manning's going to throw the ball out quick to Cruz. He stops. Eli's got to see him. I mean, he's right in his face, and he's got to know that, okay, I've got a defender who's underneath my throw to my outlet receiver with the blitz. But, Eric Wright, give him credit for making the catch. A lot of times those guys are there and they're not able to catch the ball. He catches it. But then here, I mean, a lot of hustle initially. And as I said, I thought Eric Wright was just going to take a knee and not risk turning the ball over again. And, how he's able to turn that into a touchdown is pretty impressive.
All 3 picks have led to touchdowns. That one immediately, and you can see that little point by Eli Manning, not to make too much of it because it's just a quick throw. Timeout taken by Tampa Bay prior to this kickoff with 8 seconds left. And what a return by Eric Wright, and what a jolt here before the half to the defending Super Bowl champions, who are already 0-1 on the season.
Well, that's a huge swing. I mean, it's a 17-13 game. The Giants had already scored a touchdown. They get the ball right back, and the Giants are thinking, okay, at worst 17-16 at the half. I mean, that's a minimum of 10-point swing, and it's huge. I mean, now, all of the momentum obviously swinging back to Tampa Bay, and give this defense some credit. Bill Sheridan, who was with the Giants for 5 years, was a defensive coordinator 1 year, lost his job. They bring in Perry Fuel, and he's now coordinating this Tampa Bay defense. And as we said, it is night and day from what this team put out on the field last season.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Sheridan was here 4 years as a linebacker coach, and that 1 year as defensive coordinator for the Giants. They allowed 427 points. He lost his job. Now he's the coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. His group has had some day. David Wilson on the return. Can't make it to the 10. And think about the Giants with 2 seconds left. Offensively, they've got 278 total yards, 16 first downs, but only 13 points, and they trail by 11. Eli Manning with 2 seconds left. Nothing to do here with the ball at the 8. Tampa Bay, after winning at home against Carolina week 1, they have come in here and shown the defending Super Bowl champs a lot here defensively in the first half. Visa halftime is coming. 24-13 is the score. Tampa Bay on top on the road. Kurt and the guys coming up. Visa halftime report after this from your local Fox station. Should be some second half. What's it going to be in the second half? Tampa Bay up by 11. You can follow your favorite team all season long just by going to itunes.com/NFL. Tampa Bay will start with a football. They have only 6 first downs, but they've scored 3 touchdowns. The latest one coming on an interception return for a touchdown by Eric Wright. He was added as an unrestricted free agent from Detroit. During the offseason, this is Aurelius Ben on the return, and he breaks loose. Aurelius Ben is forced out of bounds by Jaron Hosley. And how about Tampa Bay? They get a 55-yard kick return to open the second half, and that's got Tom Coughlin yelling on the sideline.
Well, they've got a left return here on the return to open up this second half, and excellent job of blocking there by the return team. And Aurelius Ben, with his speed, once he hits it, you know, he's essentially one-on-one then with the kicker, and before he gets pushed out of bounds. But, you know, tough enough after the way that first half ended to then have to be kicking the ball off to Tampa Bay and let them start the second half with the football. But then you give up a return like that and give it to them at midfield. Great opportunity here for Tampa Bay.
55-yard return by Aurelius Ben, and it puts more pressure on this Giants defense. Showing blitz. Handoff is to Doug Martin, and Doug Martin spins down to the 35 with a first down. A run of 12 yards. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, something very telling. I was watching Chris Snee as that play developed before the half ended. He was very disgusted that not more of his teammates went after Eric Wright. As I talked to Tom Coughlin, he was not very talkative. He said, Pam, all I do is talk about ball security. I talk about ball security, and I talk about ball security some more. Joe, I think he talks about ball security a lot. And he said, we're not going to win like that. Back to you.
Yeah, it was a rough first half for the Super Bowl champs. Now they're trying to get it back together. Handoff is to Martin. Martin gets 2. Let's take a look at the stats from the first half. And it's total yards just dominated by the Giants. You can't say they weren't able to move the football. They had the edge in time of possession, but it's the plus minus on the takeaways, giveaways. And that battle was won by Tampa Bay. 2nd and 8.
Go down. 93 Mike. Yeah.
Play action from Freeman, and now he just gets rid of it. He's getting pressured by Linval Joseph. It's 3rd down and 8.
I think you've got to be impressed with what you've seen from Tampa Bay. And you know, you mentioned it, only 6 first downs there in the first half, but you know, it's plays like this, and they've talked to Josh Freeman about that. Last year, 22 interceptions, fumbled the ball 5 times, 27 turnovers from him alone. And they have talked to him throughout the offseason, throughout training camp. If it's not there, get it out and don't worry about it, and he has executed that plan.
Both Ware and Martin in the backfield. Freeman goes for it all to Vincent Jackson, and it's incomplete. Good coverage by Michael Coe on 3rd and 8.
It was good coverage, and they, you know, even better coverage considering how much time Freeman had in the pocket. And they've got, you know, Entrell Roll. He's expecting the square in, and as a result of that, then Coe is locked up man-to-man on the outside, and you would think that Vincent Jackson was the defender there, keeping Coe from being able to have an interception. He makes a play and knocks it down.
52-yard try by Connor Barth. That's only 3 shy of his career long. And Barth hits it well and has enough for 3 more points for Tampa Bay. Connor Barth from 52 makes it a 14-point game here in the Meadowlands.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By the all-new Dodge Dart. Dodge, new rules. And by the Samsung Galaxy S3. The next big thing is here.
It's a 9/11 memorial, which is a must-see in Lower Manhattan if you get here. And it's a 14-point game across the river here in Jersey with 13-14 left in the 3rd quarter as Kanan kicks it away. David Wilson, the rookie, getting a chance. He can really run. Great speed, spinning his way out across the 40. And exactly what the Giants needed back the other way, a 44-yard return.
You're not kidding. That's exactly what they needed, Joe. They needed a big return. They needed good field position and leave it up to the rookie, David Wilson, who last week put the ball on the ground on just his 2nd NFL carry of the game. But, boy, they needed a spark here, and he gave them one. Great effort by David Wilson.
That's Ahmad Bradshaw, who hurt his neck. He's out of the game. 44-yard return by Wilson, who's been bypassed on the depth chart. Howie talked about it halftime by Andre Brown. Pass to the sideline, that back shoulder throw, and that pass is caught by Nix, who's closing in on a 100-yard day. Talib is out there, and Nix has had the better of that matchup. That one good for 11.
Well, there's no doubt the Giants like that matchup with Nix on Talib, and they've been able to take advantage of it, and that's tough duty for Talib. And excellent catch by Hakeem Nix, and it's a back shoulder fade, and he's able to come back and make a play on that ball. And you know, as you said, Joe, they've moved the ball. Moving the ball has not been the problem. They just can't have the takeaways like they've had.
This is Andre Brown, and he did well to lose only a yard. First guy there was Michael Bennett. Kevin Gilbride, we have marveled in the past with his ability and willingness to stick with the run. It's a 14-point game, plenty of time left, and as you said, they've been able to move it. But for the second time in Eli Manning's career, he had a 3-interception first half. Last time was in 06 at Seattle. Second and 11. Pass is caught. Good throw by Manning, and that's Bennett, the tight end. Ball comes out, whistle had blown, and then a 6-yard completion to Martellus Bennett.
Well, I don't think Martellus Bennett had any opportunity not to catch that ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Eli stuck it in there pretty good, and you know, he had to catch it. And you know, we talked a little bit about him earlier. I mean, this is a good opportunity here in New York for him, and for the first time, he's not going to be Jason Witten Jr. You know, I mean, he gets a chance to come here where they've been able to develop some tight ends and do some things with. Think about Kevin Boss and Hank Ballard, and you know, they're hopeful now that Martellus Bennett can be that guy who they don't need to be a great player, but they just need him to take some of the pressure off those outside guys.
It's 3rd down and 5. This one is batted down. At the line of scrimmage, it's 4th down. Dakota Watson was in there, the linebacker. Number 56 got his hand up. And we've seen an exasperated look from Tom Coughlin much of the day.
Well, there's no doubt. And, you know, when you get into a game like this and you're down 14 points, still obviously a lot of time, but you start feeling like time's getting away from you a little bit. So an opportunity on a drive that they just failed to capitalize on.
Strawder did not call for a fair catch and did not go anywhere. Good punt by Weatherford. Stevie Brown on the tackle, 3-yard return. Bucks have it, up 14. Second possession of the second half for Tampa Bay, up 14. And that'll be a false start.
False start, 69. 5 yards, still first down.
They get DeMar Dotson, who's making the start at right tackle with Trueblood out. Been bothered by a bad ankle. He's not even active today. Here are the connections between the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Giants. Bill Sheridan is now Tampa Bay's defensive coordinator. His group has had a nice day. Mike Sullivan is the wide receivers coach, and then Eli Manning's quarterback coach. That's him now. He's the coordinator with Tampa Bay, and DJ Ware, a good 3rd down back here for the Giants, is now with the Bucks. Down the sideline, Jackson, what a throw. And the adjustment to the catch, but that was a beauty from Josh Freeman. 22 yards and a first down.
Well, it's a good throw because Josh Freeman recognizes what he has, and whenever he's had that in this game, Vincent Jackson one-on-one, he's looked him up and he's tried to get the ball in his hands. And you know, we saw the back shoulder throw from Eli Manning to Hakeem Nicks. This time Josh Freeman makes that exact throw to Vincent Jackson along that sideline against Corey Webster.
That takes Tampa Bay out of that hole they were in after the false start. Here's Martin. He gets 2, and let's go for a game break. Here's Patrick O'Neill.
All right, Joe, let's go to Carolina. Panthers, Saints. Saints in trouble. D'Angelo Williams up the gut for a touchdown. Now 28-13. Saints trying to avoid starting 0-2. I think we knew it would be a struggle, but maybe not this. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
Yeah, that's surprising, Patrick, that New Orleans, a team that was taken apart by the rookie Robert Griffin III last week, and now they're having trouble against Carolina.
Well, I've always believed head coaching is important in this league, and so far it's proven itself out in New Orleans.
On 2nd and 7, handoff is to the rookie, and Doug Martin over the right side. Depends on the spot as to whether it's enough for a first down. It is.
Yeah, we showed the connections there with Tampa Bay and some of the guys that they've had who have been with the New York Giants. And Mike Sullivan, their offensive coordinator, he had no connection with Greg Schiano prior to getting the call to come here. And Schiano, when he got named the head coach in Tampa, there were some coaches that he was interested in around the NFL, but because of league rules, he was unable to bring those guys in. And he has some young coaches from his Rutgers staff, and then he brought in a nice mix of some veteran guys. But Mike Sullivan calling plays for the first time in his coaching career.
Here's Martin again. He's been busy, hits the hole hard. As you said, not a big guy, a shorter running back, but muscle bound, picks up 4. Jason Pierre-Paul made the tackle.
Well, we saw it last week in the Tampa Bay game, and you see it really all around the league each week, that you come out, you try to run the ball early. It is hard to run the football early in NFL games, but if you stick with it, then things start to open up a little bit. Overall, this Giants defense has done a good job, stopping the run. But on this possession, some things are starting to open up a little bit more that weren't quite there in that first half.
2nd down and 6. A toss to Martin running left. Gets around 2 tacklers and is forced out of bounds by Antrell Roll over on the sideline, a gain of 5.
Well, and that one was just a product of poor tackling, because Chase Blackburn read it beautifully, and the guys up front did their job, and they're keeping the guys off of him, and yet he was in the hole ready to make a play, and he's unable to get him on the ground.
See Vincent Jackson, the big-bodied receiver, taking care of Matthias Kiwanuka. Harry Fuels group now needing a stop. It's 3rd down and 1. Martin again, and he's swallowed up in the backfield. Jason Pierre-Paul has had some kind of day, has a sack, and this time gets penetration, a loss of 1, and a stop on 3rd and 1.
Well, you talk about a timely stop. Giants needing to come in and not give up any more points. Already down 14 points, and now midway through the 3rd quarter, and 3rd and short in a possession that the Tampa Bay team had been running the football effectively, and to stop them there on 3rd and 1, huge.
Payne into punt. 8 tackles for Jason Pierre-Paul and a sack. Ruben Rando calls for a fair catch and hauls it in at the 18. Eli Manning back to the field, trying to get his team down by 14. Mike Sullivan, first-year offensive coordinator, talking to Josh Freeman as he came off the field after that last series that stalled at midfield. It's the rookie David Wilson, and the game starts to his right, cuts back to his left, and makes an open field move, got around to lead and picked up 2. Let's go back to that stop by Jason Pierre-Paul.
Yeah, the defensive front, Jason Pierre-Paul right here, number 90, he's just going to shoot the gap, and he's able to get inside there on Luke Stocker and make a big play in that game. I mean, they could not afford for Tampa Bay to get into a position of coming away with more points, and let alone take more time off that clock.
Eric Wright, who has an interception for a touchdown, is down. They give him a look. We'll take a break. Eric Wright goes to the sideline, able to pop up and walk off under his own power. He suffered a big hit from Henry Hynoski. So now 2nd down and 9. With Andre Brown in the backfield with Manning. And he gets it coming out of the backfield, and you got to like what he's brought. He's brought a little life to this lineup since taking over, in essence, for Ahmad Bradshaw. When he went down, he's got some jump.
Well, he's given him a little something, and I can't believe on Friday when we met with Coach Tom Coughlin that nobody asked him about Andre Brown.
Well, you're the analyst.
I mean, come on.
Who knew? We've seen Ahmad Bradshaw go down with an apparent neck injury, so he's out of the game for the rest of the day, and Brown has jumped in front of David Wilson on the depth chart. And he's now the back for the Giants. They fake it to him. This one is off a helmet and incomplete in the direction of Victor Cruz. Let's go to Patrick O'Neill for a game break.
Hey, Joe, let's stick with this upset potential theme. Look at New England. Zoltan Mesko getting blocked by Arizona's Quentin Groves. Now that would go out of bounds at the 2, would lead to a Kevin Cobb to Andre Roberts touchdown pass. 13-9 Arizona over the Pats. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
Wow. Well, week 1 was interesting across the NFL, and week 2 shaping up that way as well with regard to upsets. Second down and 10. Manning floats it. Victor Cruz, and there's a flag down. The ball was picked off the deflection, but a flag was thrown on the coverage. Brandon McDonald was out there in coverage, and it's a hold against McDonald.
Well, it's in the slot. Cruz lines up in the slot, and they run that crossing release that gets him then on the outside with a lot of field to work. Cruz has an opportunity to make a play. He's unable to.
Holding, 25 defense. 5 yards previous spot, automatic first down.
So it's an automatic first down.
They called that on Aqib Talib. Aqib Talib, he lines up on the outside on Akeem Nicks, where he's been throughout this game, and that's the hold that they got. It was actually not on McDonald, but it gives them the first down, and pretty good range there by Rondé Barber over there to make the interception, obviously, which doesn't hold up.
Late handoff. Andre Brown, and he goes forward for 3. You can call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile now and get coverage of every NFL game. 2nd and 7 for the Giants. Under 5 to go, 3rd quarter. New York down 14. Protection. There's Victor Cruz. No drops today for Victor Cruz, and he is brought down just short of first down yardage. 3rd down coming up.
Well, Tampa Bay comes with a 4-man rush, and they play coverage, and Victor Cruz, as we've seen throughout this game, he's getting a lot of opportunities, and that time he's just able to work the middle part of that field, and Eli just not trying to force anything, because when he's been patient and has taken what he's had, there's been some places for him to go with the football.
Late handoff, Andre Brown, and that's Brown getting a first down. Needed 1, got 2. Miller on the stop, but in case you're just joining us, the 3 injuries. David Deal left early with a knee. Ahmad Bradshaw out with a neck injury, and Dominic Hickson was hit in the head near the end zone on a blast by Mason Foster. They're out for the day. It's first down for the Giants. Approaching midfield. They fake it to Brown. Manning down the sideline. Victor Cruz, and that's broken up. Rondé Barber got over there. Coverage by Brandon McDonald. And Barber just showed what he can do from the safety spot.
Well, I mentioned earlier the range that he had on the interception that was nullified by the penalty, but he's clear on the other side of the field at the ball when the ball was snapped, and yet he's still able to get over the top and make a play on this ball. There's not many safeties in the league with that kind of speed and that kind of range. So even though he's in his 16th year and now having to make the transition to safety, doing a nice job, and Talib doing a little bit of a hold once again on Akeem Nicks, opposite of where that ball was thrown.
On 2nd down and 10, Nicks, and there's another flag. Talib did it again. Nix didn't see the flag. He walked right by it.
Well, this has been the matchup all day long. Talib on Hakeem Nicks, and certainly contact.
Pass interference, 25 defense. Ball in place, a spot foul, automatic first down.
So instead of the 5-yard hold, it's pass interference, spot foul, and that will move the ball to the 38. 16-yard penalty on Talib.
Well, you get the one-on-one. You want to take advantage of that. Certainly, Schiano would like to see Talib get a little bit of help on Nicks, but when you start doing that, you take the guy out of the box that helps in run support. So they're trying to mix it up and guess right with the calls being made by the Giants.
Andre Brown again. He pushes the pile, then breaks free for a moment to the 30.
Yeah, and you go coverage then on this first down call, and the Giants come back with a running play, and they hit it pretty good inside.
An 8-yard run by Andre Brown, who was coming off the field, now stays on. 2nd and 2.
You know, this drive started with David Wilson in the backfield, but it was for that specific play, the misdirection. I thought maybe they were going to go with him, thinking he'd give him a little bit, more big play ability. But on 2nd down, they went with Andre Brown, and they've been going with him ever since.
2nd and 2. Manning with protection. That's Nicks. And he sits down just inside the 20, a gain of 10. And again, no problem moving it, but the Giants need to get it into the end zone. Here's the completion to number 88, who's been busy.
He sure has, and this time Eli waits for Levante David, the linebacker, waits for him to clear the passing lane, and then Nicks get into it, so he's got a clear window to put the ball on him.
He has the one Giants touchdown, Nicks, and a 114-yard day so far. Ball comes out. Andre Brown just picks it up and turns it into a positive play. A gain of 1 as Manning came out from under center without the ball.
It didn't look like Boss got the ball all the way up. Now he had a defender on his nose, and a lot of times whenever a center is short with the snap, that's the reason. You get so locked into making the block and getting your hands out on the guy that you don't secure the snap to start the play.
David Wilson now checks in. 11th play of this drive. End zone. Bennett out of his reach. And he's covered by the rookie safety Mark Barron. Now 3rd down.
Good coverage by Mark Barron. I mean, he's a big hitter. He's a physical safety, but he's got some coverage skills as well. And last week in that win over Carolina, did not come off the field. Now they only played 49 snaps, but he played every one of those snaps. And I don't know that he's come off the field in this game either. I haven't seen him off.
7th overall pick out of Alabama. It's 3rd down. Manning steps up and throws. It's broken up. Rondé Barber got in there and broke it up before it could get to David Wilson. It's 4th down, and the field goal team comes on for the Giants.
I'll tell you, that might have been another disaster right there. I mean, you've got Eli who's trying to come underneath, and here's Rondé Barber, number 20, and he comes up in a ball that was a little bit behind because the receiver taken off before the ball got there. But that was close to being an interception.
This one good from 36. Giants have been in the red zone 3 times and come away with 3 field goals, not touchdowns, trailing again by 11. 39 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, an 11-point game again. Schiano's been over there pumping up the troops ever since they came off the field, talking to extreme opposites with regard to NFL experience. Mark Barron in his 2nd game, Rondé Barber making his 201st NFL start. His first start, by the way, at safety. He started last week at corner for number 200. This is Ben from inside the end zone. It really is Ben as was a 55-yarder in this half. This one good for 25. The new AP rankings are out, and this Saturday college football returns to Fox. First, Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, and Joey Harrington get you ready for kickoff with the Fox College Saturday pregame show. Then 2 unbeaten teams clash. 15th ranked K-State. They're in Norman, Oklahoma, take on the 6th ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Big 12 opener for both teams. Coverage of Fox College football begins Saturday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
Got to say it, Joe.
Did they win?
Yes. My Bruins are 3-0. They're rolling.
The undefeated.
The only
UCLA
undefeated
Bruins.
team in LA.
Play clock winding down. Freeman. Play action. A big hit. No flag is thrown. Kenny Phillips came up and popped Vincent Jackson. No flag. And you could see that collision coming a mile away.
No flag. I mean, that's how do you not throw a flag on that call? I mean, Kenny Phillips is coming in, and it's shoulder pad or helmet. I mean, it's definitely to the head. And if that's not a defenseless receiver, I don't know what is, and I don't know an easier call to make. Vincent Jackson, he got up. Thankfully, he wasn't hurt, but he just knew there was going to be a flag on the ground, but no call.
Here's Freeman backing up, and he's picked off by Corey Webster. Josh Freeman, who threw 22 picks last year, throws his first of 2012, and it's Corey Webster immediately after that no call on the hit to Vincent Jackson that gets the pick.
Well, watch here. Josh Freeman's going to have the ability, like Romo did last week, to break, contain, and get outside and pick up a lot of yardage if he was that type of quarterback. But he's not, and the Giants know that. Now, this is one of the few mistakes Josh Freeman has made in this game because he had time. He bought himself some time, and when you throw the ball late down the middle and you're inaccurate, bad things can happen. But that was a good job defensively by the Giants of capitalizing on that, giving the ball to their offense with great field position.
No team turned it over more last year than Tampa Bay.
518.
That's their first of this season. As Manning throws, finds Bennett, and out on the edge, brought down by Rondé Barber, a gain of 8. So Martellus Bennett makes that catch, good for 8, and that's the end of 3. 27-16. Tampa Bay back after this from your local Fox station. Corey Webster gets the interception. The Giants completed a ball to Martellus Bennett, and we've seen Eric Wright, who got that hit right in his back by Henry Hynoski last time the Giants had it at the start of that last possession. And the big free agent pickup that the Tampa Bay Bucks brought in to help out on the outside is still on the sideline. Tampa Bay just turned it over for the first time in this game. Giants have done that 3 times. New York with a football inside the 30 at the 28, down by 11 as we start the 4th. We had Eric LeGrand in our booth. What an inspirational young man. We showed you the moment before kickoff today during the coin flip. He has a new book called Believe coming out September 25th. Young man who played football at Rutgers. Here is Brown. Gets to the edge. Barron pulls him down out of bounds. No flag at the end of it. A gain of 9 and a first down.
Well, they very easily could have called Mark Barron there at the end of that play. Andre Brown was well out of bounds. You know, Barron comes in, he's got a hold of him now, but he's clearly out of bounds. He's almost into the green part of that out of bounds area and still throws Brown to the ground, but they don't throw the flag there on that play either. But I tell you, Brown has really given this offense a little something within the running game.
62 yards on the ground on 9 carries. Here he is again. And Brown lost a yard. Mark Barron on the stop. stop. Second down and 11. The Giants have been inside the red zone, or as Tom Coughlin calls it, the green zone, and they've come away with 3 field goals, no touchdowns. And now there's a player down for Tampa Bay on the turf. That is Mason Foster, starting middle linebacker. Well, we thought we might be in for a good finish, considering how that first half came to a close, and now as the Giants have turned it over 3 times, Tampa Bay turns it over. We'll see what the Giants can do with this opportunity.
Yeah, that's what this whole game has been about, has been the turnovers. And you know, the game for Tampa Bay has probably gone about as well as they could have hoped for. They haven't had as much success offensively. The Giants defensively has really done a nice job today, but the takeaways that they've been able to create on their own defensive side of the ball and then capitalize with points. So, you know, right now this is a pretty big drive for the Giants. I mean, getting the turnover, if they're able to come away with a field goal here, then they cut it to a 1-possession game. But for the Giants, they need to have a little bit more consistency, certainly, than what we've seen throughout this game as well as last week when they get down in here inside this green area that Tom Coughlin likes to refer to it as.
I liked your question, though, to Perry Fuel the other day when we were at practice, and you said this is a Giants team that last year when you guys won it all, you started slowly, you were 7-7, then you won 6 in a row at the end, including the Super Bowl. They did kind of the same thing in 07 when they got hot. Do you have to create a sense of urgency around here, knowing that you've been so good at the end of the season when you've won it all? I like Perry's answer to that.
Yeah, well, yeah, what has he said? That with Tom Coughlin, you never have to worry about not having a sense of urgency. And yeah, I can guarantee you that he's pretty urgent right now as he's watching this drive.
Mason Foster is off the field. Got 12 tackles in this game. Barron can't hang on. And Barron, the rookie, was there defensively for Tampa Bay.
But it was a good route, a perfectly thrown ball by Eli Manning, and he gets Barron on his outside, and then, you know, inexplicably he tries to make a catch with one hand. You know, I mean, I don't know if he just couldn't get his left hand up to make a play on it as well, but you know, those types of opportunities just don't really present themselves all that often. But those are the plays that they need to have from Martellus Bennett, because those are the plays they got from Boss, and those are the plays they got from Hank Ballard.
Now 3rd down and 11. Blitz, pass, caught. That's Nix. Dragged to the ground by Talib, and Nix has had a huge day. Good for 14 on 3rd and 11.
Well, I think Aqib Talib's going to hope he never has to see number 88 again, because he's gotten a heavy dose of him all afternoon, and Nix has had a nice afternoon against him. And here you are, 3rd and long, and they go with the slant, and they complete it, whereas the Giants would have had to settle for a field goal on that possession had they been able to make the stop.
Play action, wide open, but that one behind and tipped. Victor Cruz, the intended target, and Eli would love to have that one back because Cruz was left alone.
Yeah, Adam Hayward, 57, is the one who comes back off the line and gets a hand on it, because, yeah, Cruz was wide open right over the ball.
Now 2nd and goal. Hand off to Brown. Not much room to run. And Brown will lose a yard to bring up 3rd and goal. Levante David, the rookie, who's playing with a bad right hand or wrist, was in there to make the stop. And now another big 3rd down for this Giants offense.
Well, it makes it tough on play caller Kevin Gilbride when you're not able to run the ball any more effectively than the Giants have been able to. I thought the turning point last week was their inability to score when they got to the 1-yard line. But when you have to rely on your quarterback every time to score from 5 and 6 yards out, that is hard to do.
5-18!
Nix at the bottom of the screen. Manning with all day. Throws it away over the head of Martellus Bennett. And it'll be 4th down. This, though, a field goal here would make it a one-score game with a two-point conversion on the end of it. But again, a missed opportunity down here close.
Well, you can hear the frustration in the crowd, you know, because they've been watching it as well. They've been watching it in this game. They watched it last week. And, you know, Greg Schiano, on the other hand, he knows what a good defensive stop that was. Yeah, you bend and you give up yardage, but to not give up a touchdown and keep this 8 points is pretty big.
4 red zone trips for the Giants offensively, 4 field goals. It is an 8-point game here in the Meadowlands.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, by Pizza Hut, make it great, and by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers will get it back here on the road. At the Meadowlands, they lead by 8. There's the drive that ended outside the end zone. That bottom line, certainly the difference in this game. Failure in the red zone for this offense to get touchdowns. They've missed a couple of chances. Bennett dropped one in the first half. Nix has the only touchdown for the Giants. Tynes kicks it away, hangs it high, and there will be a return. Ben. Aurelius Ben. Brought down by Michael Coe. A return of 19 yards. Josh Freeman, fresh off the pick. Back to work, up 8. Eli Manning watching with the rest of us as the Giants defense heads back to work. Tampa Bay with the ball up by 8, starting at their own 26. They run it on first down. Doug Martin over the right side gets 2. We look ahead to our NFL on Fox schedule next week. Week 3, the Bucs will be in the Dallas area. Irving, Texas to take on, not Irving anymore, Arlington, Texas to take on the Cowboys. 49ers, Vikings, Lions, Titans, Rams, and Bears. That's early, late. Eagles, Cardinals, Falcons, Chargers. All starts with a Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. 2nd down and 8. Handoff is to Martin. Gets 1. Rocky Bernard was in there along with Justin Tuck.
Well, you see what Tampa Bay is trying to do, and that is run the football and pick up first downs and keep this clock running and hopefully get into a position of coming away with more points. But, you know, they haven't run the ball well on 1st and 2nd down there, and the Giants know what they want to do and what Mike Sullivan's talking about. So ultimately, this is really going to come down to Josh Freeman being able to connect, to keep the ball and keep the chains moving.
1 for 7 on 3rd down are the Bucs. 4-man rush. Buccaneers pick it up. Freeman's got all day. Finds a man. That's Strawder for a first down. And there was no pressure on Josh Freeman on that 3rd down throw.
Well, across the board, first of all, they secure Jason Pierre-Paul and they don't let him get there. They only rush 4 guys. The Giants, they send Jaquan Williams down deep down the middle of the field. He's playing deep safety back here, but because there's no pressure, then it becomes like sandlot football, and it's just about a receiver being able to create separation and then Freeman finding him, and he's able to, and that's a big 3rd down conversion for this Tampa offense.
14 yards on 3rd and 7. DeMar Dotson's done a nice job out at right tackle. Blackburn in on the stop. He wasn't alone. Doug Martin over the right side gets 3.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay, you know, plays every down like they did on the previous 3 downs, and that is run it on 1st down, either run it on 2nd down or a real high percentage pass where they know the clock will keep running, and then pick it up on 3rd down. But you know, that's kind of the style that this Tampa team has shown here in the early going last week and then again here today. And Greg Schiano looks like he's getting himself a migraine as he sees this thing unfold.
2nd and 7, play clock down to 2. about the play clock. Penalty flag flies.
Timeout.
But they're going to give Tampa Bay a timeout. I believe somebody on the sideline called the timeout. They're going to pick up the flag. That's the first timeout charge to the Buccaneers. Update.
Game on Fox is sponsored by the new 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost.
8-point game. Tampa Bay with a football, trying to prove a point here on the road, trying to go to 2-0. 2nd and 7.
A good time for play action, Joe. If they really wanted to take a shot.
Instead, they play it straight. Martin slides down. Jaquan Williams there to help on the stop. Linval Joseph a loss of 1. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt.
Well, the New England Patriots a perfect 10-0 in home openers at Gillette, but Kevin Cobb in Arizona putting that in jeopardy. His touchdown puts them up 20-9 midway through the fourth quarter. Joe, Troy, and Pam, a lot of people in the survivor pool are a little nervous right now.
I would say there's the day for Cobb. And here it's 3rd down and 8. Another big 3rd down for these two sides in a one-score game. Blitz. They don't get home, and wide open is Mike Williams. But he is wrapped up short of first down yardage by Michael Coe. It'll be 4th down and a yard.
It was a good job by Freeman getting the ball out of his hands. Mike Williams makes the catch. He made a good move initially, and after that, it looked like if he had just gone after the first down, he could have gotten it. And I think that's what Greg Schiano's thinking as well, that Mike Williams does a good job. He sticks. He starts to then make a move for the first down, but he stalled again and hesitated, and it was the difference in picking up the first down and having to punt.
Randall, the rookie, waiting for the punt, end over end, fair catch. Reuben hauls it in at the 12. That's where the Giants will start. Mike Williams with that move tried to pick up the first down, a yard shy. Schiano didn't like it, says go punt it. Giants have it, down 8. Good matchup here. Tampa Bay leading by 8, starting at the 12. Eli Manning and this Giants offense. Underneath, it's Andre Brown. Out to the 20. Gain of 8. Eric Wright, when this drive started and on that first play, was just coming back out onto the field after getting hit in the back by Hynoski 2 possessions ago. So he's on the sideline. Mason Foster, who left with cramps, is back out there defensively for the Bucs. It's 2nd and 2. Pass is caught by Nix. And now incomplete. Nix, not much of an argument. That ball hit the turf. Aqib Talib on the coverage, and it was the Tampa Bay sideline that went crazy reacting to this one. Let's see if it hits the ground and comes out.
Pretty strong hands there by Akeem Nix in being able to make the catch initially. He has it, but it's not until they're going to the ground that Talib's able to essentially just pull it away from him, and then they ruled that it was incomplete. I'm not so sure it was incomplete, but based on Nix's lack of a reaction, it must have hit the ground.
Timeout taken by Schiano, who came running down to take it.
Tampa Bay, their 2nd charge timeout.
Before 3rd and 2. Problem today for the Giants, the turnovers. And the effect of those turnovers were touchdowns. First one of Vincent Jackson. Second pick by McDonald. Carried into the end zone by Doug Martin, and then this one, immediate gratification by Eric Wright. The 60-yard return of that interception 21 points off turnovers. The Giants turned their one takeaway into just 3 points.
Well, at the end of each of these games, I mean, the coaches constantly talk about, who wins and who loses, and generally speaking, it's whoever wins the turnover battle. I always say, yeah, those turnovers happen in the progress of trying to win a game, but a huge factor in this one.
I believe Shiano called timeout so he could get Eric Wright back on the field on a big third down. Manning steps up. He's got Cruz. Hits him in stride. Victor Cruz. Time to dance. In honor of his late grandma, his beloved abuela, Lucy Molina, who taught him that salsa dance when they were listening to the late Tito Puente. And his grandmother passed away this week. And now in this 2-point game, after that 80-yard touchdown completion to number 80, Victor Cruz has had a nice day. 11 catches, 179 yards. Now the touchdown, the 2-point try, and an attempt to tie it. Hand off to Brown. Tie game.
They're going to bring the blitz off the edge here from Eric Wright. So that puts Rondé Barber in man-to-man coverage on Victor Cruz. Now, I think Rondé Barber, 16th year in the league, he's expecting Cruz to just go to the first down and turn around. So he's expecting a curl route in front of him. He sits on the route. Cruz runs by him, and there's just nobody there. So Barber gets caught guessing, and a good call by Kevin Gilbride in this New York Giants offense.
And what a perfect throw from Eli Manning, who's thrown the interceptions, but he dropped this one right into the arms of Victor Cruz. Number 80, 480 yards. The 2-point conversion ties this game at 27. And after hearing about the drops all week, he had 3 against Dallas. He's in. Then Andre Brown is in, plowing ahead, and Eli Manning, despite the frustrating first half, has got his team back even with Tampa Bay.
That's got to feel awfully good for Victor Cruz after a disappointing opening night with 3 drops. He has sure responded here this afternoon.
Another one that hangs high, so a return for Ben. And Aurelius Ben gets hit and hit hard. Play made by Paysinger.
Joe, when Mike Sullivan came to Tampa Bay and started installing this offense, the film that he was showing Josh Freeman was film of Eli Manning and all the cut-up reels and the installation as to how they wanted to do things. And Josh Freeman's watched more film on Eli Manning than any other quarterback in the league over the last 6 months, and now he gets a chance to really kind of go out and do what Eli Manning's been doing for quite some time. That's win a ball game late in the 4th quarter.
This place is alive on first down for Tampa Bay. They hand off to the rookie, and Martin straight ahead picks up 4. 6.5 to go in regulation. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, it's the Dodgers and Reds, Braves and Phillies. Phillies still alive. The Twins and Tigers. Fox Saturday Baseball this week, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. 2nd down and 6 for Tampa Bay.
Well, they got a running formation. I still think play action off something like this should give them a chance down the field.
Here's a blitz. Freeman throws, and this one is underthrown. That was the rookie, Jaron Hosley, out there covering Vincent Jackson. Now it's 3rd and 6.
You can see the Giants, they're all coming. This is really more of a run blitz than it is necessarily trying to come after the quarterback, but yet they're able to get pressure on Josh Freeman. And when the ball came out, I mean, Vincent Jackson was well down the field, and fortunately for Tampa Bay, the ball was out of bounds, because otherwise that would have been easily intercepted.
3rd down and 6. Blitz, quick setup and throw for Jackson, incomplete. Justin Tryon out there defending, and it's 3 and out. And all the momentum belongs to the sideline with guys dressed in blue as this miss on 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, Justin Tryon had good coverage, but it was a well-thrown ball by Freeman. It's just that Jackson was unable to get his other arm up to make a play on that ball, but a good gain on 1st down and then 2 straight incompletions.
Punt by Cannon takes a bounce, goes right out of bounds, and a drive that lasted less than a minute. Remember, Tampa Bay took a couple of timeouts. They only have 1 remaining. The Giants all 3, and now you've got Eli Manning in a spot where the game's in his hands. And certainly last year and before last year, he proved this is somebody that makes a defense worry, that when it's in number 10's hands and the game's on the line, he knows how to win it.
Guy's got ice water running through his veins. I mean, he's really amazing. I mean, he's obviously a great player, but like all great quarterbacks, he's exceptionally good here in these stages of a game.
He's got 20 career game-winning drives, and he floats this one for Nix. A hand on, and then that extra hit at the end by Barron, and Nix is slow to get up.
There was a lot of contact on that route as well.
Looked like there was a hold. Yeah, there's a hold at the beginning of it. That's not where the issue was for Nix. It was after he went to the turf. Right here. And he got his right ankle stepped on.
Yeah, you see, that's the reaction. Yeah, that's where he hurt himself, was when he got stepped on. But Aqib Talib, there's been a lot of contact. We've shown it throughout this game between those two guys, and it's been a matchup that has heavily favored the New York Giants. But he gets away with a hold, as you see. He's got a fistful of jersey right there.
So Nix able to get to the sideline. Remember, he had a broken right foot that he suffered in May, still working his way back from that, and then he gets stepped on the back of his right foot. 2nd down and 10. Manning. Pass caught. Bennett. 1st down. 14-yard completion of Martellus Bennett, who has been anything but a sure thing on the other end of these passes from Manning.
But that was big, because Tampa Bay gave help on the outside, and so coverage dictated that Eli come back to the middle, and Bennett has to win, and he does, and he makes the play, and it's a 1st down.
Last year in the Super Bowl year, Eli Manning had 6 quote-unquote game-winning drives. Blitz coming from Rondé Barber. Manning throws and finds Nix right back into the action, adding to his big day.
You got Brandon McDonald, who's lined up on Nix, who was just signed in late August, and Nix has done so much as far as releasing to the outside and getting the big play down the field that this time he runs the slant. McDonald's anticipating an outside release. He jumps outside and completely opens up the throwing lane on the slant. He was out there on an island. There was no safety help given to him whatsoever.
400-yard passing day for Eli Manning. On first down. Manning steps up, floats it for Bennett. The catch. The touchdown.
Again in coverage, and when the ball was thrown, he just turned and didn't play the ball. I mean, initially it looked like he was in a good position there. The ball's thrown and he turns and tries to find the receiver, as opposed to turning and continuing to play the ball in flight.
Bennett is 6'6". McDonald is 5'10". And it's a 7-point lead. Eli Manning, who last year threw 15 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter, which was an NFL record, has 2 today against Tampa Bay. And the Buccaneers have blown a 14-point lead, now trailed by 7, and the focus switches from Manning to Freeman as Eli and the Giants are on top.
Yeah, but let's credit that offensive line on that last play as well. Martellus Bennett obviously does a nice job. Eli makes a good throw. But for an offensive line that really has had to shuffle things from preseason on, you know, they're at left tackle when they had to play Sean Locklear because Will Beatty was unable to play, and then they have Dave Deal go down and they got to shuffle everybody again, and there was a lot of protection there inside for Eli Manning to have time to come back to Martellus Bennett. They showed that they were going to throw a quick wide receiver screen to the left side of the field. And Eli didn't like the way that it looked, so he got off of it, and he then has to locate what's happening down the field, and without protection, he's not able to do that.
So again, David Deal goes out early, hurts his knee. They shift Sean Locklear out to right tackle. Beatty takes over at left tackle. And look at a career-high 436 yards passing for Eli Manning, and now the touchdowns equal the interceptions. A 3-interception first half, and that is long since forgotten now, with the Giants up 7 under 4 to play, and it's on Josh Freeman now, the 4th-year pro out of K-State, first-round pick in 09 that brings Tampa Bay back. And the drive will start at the 20. DJ Ware ends up on top of the football. DirecTV postgame shows coming up right after the action, which couldn't be any better right now here in the Meadowlands. This place is buzzing.
Well, this is the first time, Joe, that this Tampa team, last week it didn't happen. They controlled the game pretty much throughout. You know, it got tight, but they didn't have to do anything they didn't want to really have to do. And that's how it's been throughout this game. Now for the first time, down 7. They're battling the clock. 1 timeout. I mean, they're going to have to get out of their comfort zone and do some things throwing the football with Freeman that they would have preferred not to have had to do.
They started with a run, but eventually they're going to have to go through the air. It's Doug Martin. Stop is made by Hosley, the rookie corner. A gain of 3, and the Giants have outscored Tampa Bay 21-zip over the last 11 minutes 40 seconds and lead by 7. And only 1 timeout remaining for Tampa Bay. Free play for Freeman. Over the middle, finds Dallas Clark. And Clark makes the catch, good enough for a first down. 10-yard completion. The Giants at the beginning.
Offside, 91. Penalty may decline. Results will play. First down.
It's Tuck, who came across early, so a free play.
Now, there's time on the clock, clearly, Joe, with 3 minutes and 12 seconds, but they can't burn as much time off the clock as they did in between first and second down there. They've got, if they're going to huddle, which they can still do, there's got to be more urgency than what they showed on that last possession, or the last snap.
From the 33 on first down, Dallas Clark, back-to-back catches, makes a move, got around Boley, brought down by Tryon, a gain of 6. And again,
well, you know, they don't want to rush too much, but at the same time, what you don't want to see with Tampa Bay is that if they're able to keep this drive going, that it then gets down to where they're rushed for time, because that doesn't have to be the case.
Second down and 4. Four-man rush, pass caught by Clark. He's got 3 in a row. And now the Bucs are inside Giants territory, inside the 42, a completion of 20.
Yeah, and who works the middle of the field better than Dallas Clark after all these years? I mean, he gets in there and he knows where the holes are within those zones. Very quarterback friendly in the way that he runs routes.
Coming up on the 2-minute warning. Good protection for Freeman. Williams, Tryon, caught for the touchdown. What a catch by Mike Williams. And we are an extra point away from a tie game.
Well, there's absolutely no pressure on Josh Freeman, and normally you cannot throw the ball this late down the sideline and have enough arm strength to get it down there. But watch how much time Freeman has in the pocket. He holds it, waits, and then unloads it. And he shows you the strength that he has in his arm. But Ben is able to go over the top of Tryon, actually hits him in the helmet. And that's why he's able to make a catch, because that ball was thrown to the inside to where it looked like it was going to be potentially intercepted. But Ben goes after it for the touchdown.
I guess they had enough time, huh? 2 minutes, 1 second on the drive. Josh Freeman 4 for 4 on that drive. The last big chunk, 41 yards to Mike Williams. What a game. In the Meadowlands, the Bucs answer. We're tied at 34. Tampa Bay Buccaneers only had 84 yards the entire second half before that 80-yard drive. Freeman perfect on the drive. 77 of the 80 yards thanks to his arm, and at the end it's the touchdown throw to Mike Williams, a guy who in his rookie year had 11 touchdown catches in 2010. Was a big play receiver last year, took a step back, had only 3, but now Williams has his second of the season already, and that one ties it. Eli and company will start at the 20. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Yeah, we'll go back and take a look. I think I was saying Aurelius Ben, but it was Mike Williams, as you said, Joe. He's on the go route on the outside, and you see the amount of time again that Freeman has, and that's a pretty big arm to be able to get the ball that far down the field. But the effort that Williams has in going after it, now it just goes off his helmet, so he didn't catch it cleanly. But a game that's just had a lot of big plays on the outside by these wide receivers.
So now Manning. Career high 436 yards passing. He needs more. Just a 3-man rush. Down the sideline, Barton left wide open. And Ramsey's Barton with a completion out to the 44, a 24-yard completion from Eli Manning. If you're just joining us, this game has now gone back and forth lately, a game that had been dominated by Tampa Bay. Buccaneers at one point led by 14. Giants went ahead last time they had it. Now we'll have a false start. Tampa Bay and Josh Freeman answered with a 41-yarder to Mike Williams to tie it.
False start, 75, offense. 5 yards, First down.
That's Sean Locklear, who's now out at right tackle. And if you are joining us, he's there because David Deal is out with a knee injury that he suffered in the first half. Ahmad Bradshaw's out with a neck injury. Dominic Hickson for the Giants out with a head injury. It's 1st and 15 for New York. They have all 3 of their timeouts left. That's Nix. This is Nix. How about this guy? Nix sets up the Giants with 1:20 to go. Working on Ahmad Black. First Talib, and he went right around him. Black on the stop to save the touchdown.
Well, every time they put Aqib Talib on Akeem without any help, the Giants have gone after him, and they've had a lot of success with it. And so Tampa Bay came up and showed immediately that they were going to be locked up one-on-one, and you knew where Eli Manning was going to go with the football.
A timeout taken by the Giants, and now with Tampa Bay having only 1 timeout remaining, and they're looking at Nix. He has had a painful start to the year. The Giants can bleed down the clock and win their first game of the year. How about an 80-yarder to Victor Cruz, who did his salsa dance, and then Martellus Bennett. The touchdown by Cruz led to a 2-point conversion to tie it. Bennett put the Giants on top. Then it was Mike Williams from 41 yards out. Tampa Bay tied it. Now Eli Manning, who, as we mentioned, had 15 touchdown passes last year in the 4th quarter, an NFL record, has got 2 today. He's thrown for 510 yards as he continues to add to his career high, and 3 interceptions nobody cares about.
Well, the Giants, if they want to, they can run this clock all the way down and not give the ball back to Tampa Bay and just kick a field goal and win the game.
They hand off to Andre Brown, and he will slide down. Makes you think of Ahmad Bradshaw in this past Super Bowl.
Well, that's what they want. That's what they wanted Ahmad Bradshaw to do in the past Super Bowl. He went ahead and scored, but yeah, you know, you look at it and you say, okay, are they going to run the ball one time and then just run this thing down and kick the field goal and go home?
By the way, in case you're wondering, for the Giants, their franchise record most yards passing in the game, Phil Simms 513 back in 1985. Manning is 3 yards behind him in that. Well, we'll see. Handoff as they spread him out, and now it's Andre Brown going in for the touchdown. First in his career, and he showed something here today. Andre Brown stepping in for the injured Ahmad Bradshaw.
Yeah, he really did, and he, you know, we'll see how long Ahmad Bradshaw may be on the shelf, but whether he comes back or not, this young man, Andre Brown, he's earned an opportunity to get more carries, certainly next week. And talk about guys who really did a great job. I mean, you mentioned it. Eli Manning, a tough first half, but to bounce back and do what he did doesn't surprise anybody. I mean, that's why he's won a couple of Super Bowls and has carried this team here in recent years.
And now the
False start, 77. 5 yards. We'll retry the ground.
Kevin Booth guilty of a false start. Andre Brown did not go in on first down. He took it in on second down. So Tampa Bay will have 1 timeout. 31 seconds left on the clock. And Freeman at least will get the ball back in his hands with a big hill to climb. Down by 7. The big play on that last drive that set up the Andre Brown touchdown run was another one to Hakeem Nicks, who's got a 199-yard day. And he almost got in, then had to limp off. Still working his way, Troy, back from that broken right foot. Practicing only 1 day a week on Thursdays. Got stepped on earlier in this 4th quarter, and man, he's had some kind of day, and he's been right in the face of Aqib Talib since this thing was kicked off at 1 o'clock.
Really a great game, and you know, as you said, Joe, the limited practice time that'll probably carry throughout the season. You know, those types of injuries are difficult to heal during the year, but as well as he played today, I think I'd give him a couple days off.
Why not? That was a 50-yarder, by the way, to Hakeem Nicks. Mixed into the 199 on the day. Career high for Eli Manning. And the Giants with 605 total yards offensively for the franchise, their most in over 61 years.
You know, the one thing about it, though, Joe, is even with, you know, just 30 seconds, 31 seconds, less than that after this kickoff, the Bucs are going to have an opportunity. And the Giants didn't have to give them that. Now, there's no guarantee that you make the field goal if that's what you settle for. But deciding to score down there, they now give Tampa Bay at least a chance to try to tie this thing up.
This is DJ Ware. And the former Giant almost broke free. Antrell Roll was underneath there making the stop. 25 seconds remain in decent field position at their own 36. .25 seconds left. We welcome in yet another new audience. The New York Giants at one point, the Super Bowl champion Giants, trailed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by 14 points. Eli Manning has had a brilliant second half, a 500-yard plus passing day, and he's got his Giants 25 seconds away from their first win of the season. Freeman throws and finds Jackson, who's able to make the catch and get out of bounds with 18 seconds left. That one good for 21 yards.
Well, with that throw there and the arm that Josh Freeman has, I mean, if they can decide to do it here, but they're going to have an opportunity if they don't get sacked. They're going to have a chance now to take a shot into the end zone at some point here in the next play or two.
Well, this obviously didn't have to happen. The Giants didn't need to score the touchdown as quickly as they did. Tampa Bay was letting them score on first down. Brown basically gave himself up, but went in on second down. And now Freeman down the sideline for Williams, and he's got a first down on a beautiful throw from Josh Freeman. The ball's at the 16-yard line, and now there's a legitimate chance for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I don't know what Tryon's thinking, because they're in two-man. There's a safety help over the top, and so you can lock in as tight on this guy as you want, and he lets Mike Williams run by him. Now, that was a perfect throw. Yeah, that was a great job by Josh Freeman, just throwing a rope right there on the sideline to Mike Williams.
We'll take another look at it.
The previous play is under review.
As will the replay booth. Let's take another look. The ball's coming out, stays between the legs and comes out. That's an incomplete pass. Let's take another look.
Well, it's a matter of whether or not they rule that he had possession prior to getting hit. If they rule that it was a continuous act as he's coming down with the ball, then the ball comes out as he's going to the ground, it would be ruled incomplete.
Mike Pereira is with us from Los Angeles. This is an interesting one, because there is a hit there. We've always heard about maintaining control going to the ground. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is what Troy just talked about. Okay, did he maintain control of the ball long enough to perform an act common to the game after the second foot came down? So if you do run that back, that's going to be the question, because the rule clearly states you got to have control, which he did. You got to get both feet clearly down, which is part 2. So we see here, you're going to go right, left, and then did he have the ball long enough to perform an act common to the game? That's the total focus of the replay official upstairs as he shows it. So part 1, control. Part 2, both feet down. Now, did he have it long enough to perform an act common to the game, or keep it long enough to, to brace himself or basically prevent himself to ward off contact by a defender. To me, I think this by the letter of the rule is incomplete.
Interesting. And it is in that gray area because of that hit. He's not going to the ground as part of the catch. That's not there. Here's the call.
After review, the receiver had the ball temporarily, hit the ground, lost it. Incomplete pass.
And that huge call as Jim Core gives the announcement. Going to the ground after that hit, not enough time, as you heard Mike Pereira say, to make a football act, an act common to the game of football after making the catch, getting both feet down, and that completion is taken off the board, and the ball goes back to the 45-yard line. So Mike Pereira, former head of NFL officials, made the call, and this group ends up agreeing with it. 12 seconds remain. Freeman over the middle, intercepted, and the Giants have their first win of the year. Michael Boley comes away with a pick, and with 5 seconds left, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Greg Schiano come to the Meadowlands. They showed a lot throughout the majority of this game, but it's Eli Manning in the end that does what we've become accustomed to seeing Eli Manning do, win the game for the New York Giants.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways to look at this game, Joe. I mean, clearly it was a tale of two halves. The first half, New York not playing well at all, but I've always believed that good teams find a way to win regardless of however it looked. You just find a way to get it done, and that's exactly what Tom Coughlin and his squad did here today. This is a big win. A big win for the Giants, not playing their best football and going up against a team that was pretty motivated here this afternoon.
Giants didn't like that hit that was aggressive and put Eli Manning on his backside. We'll take a break. We'll come back and wrap up an eventful day. Scoring left and right. What a game. Giants win it. Back after this.